I think we're live. Looks like so. Alright, hi and welcome to today's live stream. We are going to use the Artec EVA 3D scanner that you can see down here. By the way, my name is Anton Månsson. I'm here at the Creative Tools Stockholm office. It's not our main office, but it's the small office around here. With me today I have two guests. I'm gonna introduce them in a few minutes, a few seconds I think. We'll just see. Maybe they're on social media just right now for a minute or two. But so the goal here is to use the Artec EVA 3D scanner. I'm just gonna do a live scanning of a person, which should be pretty fun. While I'm here, I could just show you guys how it looks right now. Remember, this is the unfinished, uncleaned office, I should say. So we have a few printers here, of course, but we also have the Artec EVA that we'll be using in a few seconds. So that's what we're going to do. But we have a Flashworks Dreamer, we have a Sortrax M200 right now, we have a bunch of 3D scans there. You can see a bigger person right here. That is the inner side of the office. And we have a Zyyx Plus, and we have a replicator in the background, a Inventor 2 from Flashforge, and also the Creative Tools Special Edition Finder here. Let's see, you can see here some scans that have been done before, but with that said, I think I should introduce my guests here today. Hi!
Hey guys!
So we have Daniel Henry, you know who this is, it's my Creative Tools colleague.
The cameraman.
The cameraman, the creator of all awesome 3D things, I suppose. And we have Anders from Zyyx.
Exactly.
Who is going to be the 3D scanning victim today.
Exactly.
That's the plan at least. So I'm just going to show you here my setup. It's quite easy. I have my old Asus laptop. It's nothing special, it's a small processor, but it has a dedicated graphic card, which is important when you're doing texture scanning, like we are today. And then of course we have the Artec EVA. It's a white light based scanner, so it has two cameras, one here and one there, and also a projector in the center, or maybe the projector is one of the other ones, I forget all that. But it has a texture light and a texture scanner, and it uses no tracking points if you don't want to. But also we have well, that's all we need really, but to make it much easier to scan a person, we're using a rotatable chair. So the whole idea is that one person, Anders, will sit down, and then we'll be able to, since I don't have a battery for this scanner, I will be able to assist you in spinning around, which makes it much easier on the scanning. So I think that you can have a seat.
Ah, thank you.
And I think the most fun thing about 3D scanning is that when you are being scanned, you have to be really still. So you're not allowed to move your head or anything. Okay. You can move everything below your shoulders, because I will assist you, or I will tell you to move yourself. So you will rotate the chair by just taking small steps with the legs.
Okay.
Just try that, and we'll see if it's.
I feel like, you know, the beginning of Marvel Comics.
Yeah.
Where you're supposed to participate in a scientific experiment, and then you end up with superpowers.
We have some spoilers here somewhere. So
sorry, I hope for that. Okay.
So if you just try to rotate yourself with the legs, that's great. By the way, chewing gum will be
okay.
To chew later, just so you know. So exactly, you're just going to do that, and I'm going to stand here with the scanner and figure everything out while you rotate slowly. So that's perfect speed. When we start scanning, I will ask you to sit still for just a few seconds, so I can start with scanning, and then I'll ask you to start moving.
Okay.
Then probably just one lap, and then we'll be ready with that. So, now to the software. If you come here, and we can see if we can get some reflection-less settings. So all we're really going to do here is to do the most simple scan. So in Artec Studio 11 here, it's a quite easy setup. We are going to scan, we're going to use real-time fusion. No, actually we're not in this case. We're going to use geometry plus texture, which allows us to track, well, geometry and texture at the same time. So I will be able to get skin color and everything like that as well. Now, the issue with the Artec EVA is that it's a little bit too precise. It's a little bit too good of a scanner to scan people. Well, not really, but usually you have some issues with hair, for example, hair and beard. but I think it's going to be fine today. We might have some patches on the fluffy hair that is difficult to scan, so it's a problem that you're not bald.
Yeah, well, we're getting there. It should come in a year from now and then everything will be...
That's awesome. Alright, so when I start scanning now, this is going to flash quite a lot, so you're not epileptic.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see. We'll get that on tape if you
Okay.
are. Alright, so we're just starting the preview, and this allows me in the software to, if you just want to show here in the software, it allows me to aim the scanner a little bit, so I'm just going to aim here on the face. We can see that we're getting a good read here. This here on the left side, this shows the distance from the object. So I want to be a little bit further away. You can see that the texture light is a little bit sensitive. So if I go too close, it will be overexposed. If I go too far away, it will be too dark. This is, you can change this a little bit later on when you're doing the scan as well. So it's not that important, but you just want to have a basic scan distance.
Is it okay to close your eyes?
Yes.
Because it actually feels like a club in the 90s. We should turn on some house music, and we...
Yeah, we'll have a party.
Yeah.
But absolutely, that's totally okay.
Okay.
So if you turn towards me,
Yeah.
and no more shooing now,
Okay.
and also the pose that you want to have. If you want to smile, you want to just be sad or whatever, you just have to hold that pose for 2 or 3 minutes.
Striking pose.
Yeah, exactly. So when you're ready, close your eyes and we'll start.
I do that look Magnum, you know?
Yeah, of course, right, sure. Alright, let's go then. Okay, so I'm going to start scan now. So I click here, play on the scanner, and I'm now scanning. So just stay still for a few seconds while I just register the first piece of data. You can see here now that I'm trying to get all of the chin in here as well. And we have one of the ears. I'm just going to go down a little bit on the chest so we get a good good model if you want to like print a podium or just print a model of yourself later, which I hope is the plan. Okay, so if you start turning slowly now, it's super great speed. Now what I'm doing here with the scanner is just I'm trying to cover everything from up, so the forehead and the hair and down on the shoulders as well, while Anders here is rotating. So I'm doing most of the job. If you just pause a little bit. I missed a little bit on the shoulders, so I just want to grab that before we go back here. Okay, you can start rotating. Now scan the back, the neck, and up on the top of the head as well. Trying to get as much hair as possible, but it is a little bit sensitive here. You could use some sort of mask if you want to do that. Let's see, I'm going to get a little bit more of your back. And your other shoulder. Great, you can pause there. And I'll be ready in a few seconds here. So I'll take a little bit more on the scan. So what's interesting for you guys here is that I don't have any markers or anything at all. This is just based on geometry and texture while scanning, which is quite impressive actually, to be able to track all my movements that I'm doing in more or less in real time. Just taking the last of your shoulder here before we are finished. There we go. Now I'm going to click stop. You're free to move again.
Ah, thank you.
Damn it, when he was locked down I should have asked for a printer or something. Oh, I forgot that. Okay, so if we look at the computer now, I'm just going to leave the scanner away a little bit. So what we see here is quite of a rough scan. So it's not complete just yet. When I turn on the layers here, you can see that we have some overlapping on particles. So the goal now is to do some processing on this file. Now we're lucky that in Artec we can use something called autopilot up here in the corner. That means that we don't really have to do that much, the computer will do it for us. So I'm going to click auto and it's going to start with a few different processes. Right now it's doing something called fine registration. That means that it's taking each image of the scanner and trying to overlap them. So during scanning it's doing it in real time, which means that's a little bit slower. But right now the computer is trying to figure out how each image is overlapping. So you get a series of, I think, 1,000 images will overlap more correctly, which then makes a 3D printable model, or no, not printable, but a 3D model. The next step now is to choose which scans we want to do, and we only had one, so we're going to do with that. We can choose a few settings here, but for you guys I'm going to try to speed this up. So we're not doing a watertight model, we're not doing high resolutions and stuff like that, we're just doing good enough. So we click next, and we could edit out some of these parts, but I don't want to do that now. It's much better to do later. So now the autopilot is running, so we're doing a serial registration, we're going to do a global. The global means that it takes all the 1,000 images and try to match them to each other. And then we have an outline removal, it will do fuse all of these images and then create a model. Is there any questions?
Yeah, you want some questions? I have a question.
Yeah.
Will this model be publicly available? So we can print
yeah,
it?
I mean, you're gonna buy it on Thingiverse. I believe it's to be in the top 5 within seconds.
Yeah. we need your guys' help later to upload it, of course.
Yeah.
So there's a question about the price. What's the price of the scanner?
Oh, this scanner is, I think, around 11,000 euro. So this is a professional solution. This is made for, well, it's made for scanning everything, really. So if you want to scan nature or archaeological models, everything from product design, the Artec EVA is aimed for those kind of customers. And the main benefit of that price tag might not be scan quality, but it's actually the whole workflow with the software. You don't get this kind of features in anything even remotely to Artec EVA scanners. So the price tag might scare you, but if you're in a need for a scanner, it's more or less the perfect solution. So don't be afraid, just understand why you need to pay more. But yeah, usually that's what you do for professional solutions. Okay, so the next step here that is running right now, the number 4 here, that is a fusion mode. Fusion does, it takes 1,000 small meshes, because this scanner, each frame that it records, creates a separate, let's say a A4 size scan. So it creates a small mesh, kind of low resolution, and then it takes all of these thousands of meshes and fuses them into one big mesh. So if you know like a Boolean operation, or if you have 2 models and you want to combine them, this does that on a huge level. So it takes thousands of scans, making like a new wrapping of a new scan on top of that. Which is why it takes a little bit of time when we have, well, you're a small model, but again, we have a lot of frames. Lucky you weren't bigger. Just kidding. So that's what we're doing right now, or the computer is doing. So again, you have to consider here that this process is totally automated with a scanner of less expensive or less professional. These steps are usually quite heavy on the operator, so you have to know a lot of stuff to do it. But with Artec, especially with the Artec Studio 11, in this case there's actually a version 12, but I haven't gotten it yet. It's even easier, so that's what you get with a professional solution. Any more questions?
Ben says hi.
Hi, Ben.
Anders, what's your favorite printer?
Well, the Zyyx, of course.
Do you have an affordable scanner to recommend? Waldemar asks.
Affordable scanner depends a little bit on what you want to do. If you want to do, let's say, general purpose scanning, so scanning, for example, products as a reference, then I think that the 3D Systems Sense can be okay, but the Sense is actually better for persons than people. So for objects, I would say Einscan S or SE, and for a little bit bigger things and more general purpose, but at an economy level, like a startup, a really small company, the Einscan Pro would be a good solution. But then if you're looking at a cultural or educational sector, or just a bigger company with more needs, I think that the Artec solutions are the best. And then you can go even further from that and try Artec Spider solutions and view scans and stuff like that. But then of course you can do free photogrammetry as well. I have a video about that if you want to check out the channel, so just a plug for myself there. But there's a free option as well, but it's much more operator heavy, which means that you have to do a ton of stuff to get it to look okay.
What about the Kinect?
Kinect is more or less
usable?
rubbish, but it does work as reference. It's fun to use.
Can it be fairly good with with software, or?
Yeah, with software it can be okay, but I would go with the 3D Systems Sense. It's more or less the same hardware, the same technique, inside the scanner. But with this System Sense software, it becomes a super simple solution that you don't really have to know 3D to even use. So anyone can pick that up. Your grandpa can pick it up. But otherwise, we can see now, by the way, it's working here a little bit on mesh optimizations. So we see a model, but it's not finished just yet. So it's still working here. But yeah, Kinect can work, but I'd say that if you don't want to spend a lot of time trying to get it to work okay, you should look at the Sense. It's around €4.99 or €4.49. So it's still a cheap system. But then you can look at other stuff.
Albin wonders what's your favorite 3D model?
Ooh, I have to choose one of yours, right? My favorite 3D model is the one we're doing now.
Yeah. Exactly! Saved by the bell.
No, but I think the OpenRC FN1 car, of course, it's beautiful even if it's not drivable. In this case, it's not drivable. It's a super nice model. What else is there? Let me see. Can we view this model a little bit better? Not yet. We're still waiting for the texturing right now. So right now the computer is working a lot to make this model a color model. I mean, there's nothing wrong with purple, but we want to have texture on it. What do you say? It's again.
Well, it's how I feel on the inside, I can tell you.
At least it's purple and not blue.
Exactly.
Yeah, but the fun thing here is that, yeah, it does take a few minutes to process all of this data, especially the textures. The textures is the heavy thing for the computer. Again, this is a dual-core laptop system, super low-powered. But again, it's automatic, which is the most important thing. We could be drinking coffee right now, or talking to a new customer, or working. We don't want to do that.
No.
So but it releases time for the operator. So in a professional solution, you could run through a few customers a day. Well, an hour, I would say a few scans an hour. While if you would use like a Kinect system, you would probably have to spend hours, if not days, on just one scan to get it similar quality. Even then, you don't get it similar when it comes to accuracy or resolution.
So what would you say is the most common usage of this in professional situations?
In professional situation, it's everything from just getting a reference, really. So everyone who works with 3D printers knows that you can download something from Thingiverse, you can get a good CAD file from GrabCAD, but there's really no way of getting like a natural object. So let's say you, for example. There's no reference if you want to build a biking helmet for you, or you want to have glasses for you. Maybe you want to do a band-aid or something that sticks or attaches to something that is naturally created. Then there's no data, and it's super hard to get that data. So with the scanner, you get a reference to reality, really. So you can do everything from old mechanical engines that there's no drawings of. You can scan them, and then you have maybe not a perfect copy, but you have something that you know exactly all the measurements. You can get the diameters of each cylinder. You can get all that data from the scanner, even if the data that you get is not ready to edit like a CAD file, because it's mesh, it's not steps and nerves files. So that's the best application, is to get real-world data and get it digital. And that can be scanning of archaeological objects, scanning artistic work, scanning people, scanning dead people. That's actually a quite big thing for police, to be able to see scenarios and crime scenes and so on. But there's a ton of different work areas, so to say. But for like a normal consumer, it's of course pretty expensive.
Yeah.
And that's why if you need it, you can check on the lower price solutions. They're not the same resolution or accuracy, but it will still work as a reference of some sorts. Especially if you use photogrammetry, which is free, more or less. But I think we have the file here, and it's ready. So the first thing I want to do here is just turn on the light in the software. So we have a artificial light. The texture is a little bit, let me see here if I can adjust that. The brightness on the texture is a little bit low, but we have some data here we can improve that. It's gonna be a little bit weird now because I'm bumping it up so you guys can see it on the screen here. So let's stick with that. Okay, so here we have Anders in a rotatable model. I think it looks really good with the hair here. It's not perfect.
He does look good.
Yeah. You can see here.
I bet you said that to all the boys.
We have a artifact here. I don't think you have that. That's in real life. It doesn't look like it. So I will be able to edit this data because the fun thing is that even if we have a finished scan here, we still have the raw data just on the side. So I'm just going to show you that we have each frame, each mesh that is registered by the scanner. We can just look through. I'm just scrubbing through all the frames here. Frame 200. Maybe you want to see it on this side. So this is how each and every frame actually looks, and then it builds up an object. So even if you rotate a little bit on each of these, and by the way, some of the images also then includes texture. So this is each frame, and we had around 1,000 of these frames. I'm just going to go back to the finished scan. So that's why I can still do some editing on this one, but for viewing and for just checking the data, using the automatic tools is super good on site. But then I have the raw data and I can edit it back home or just back it up if you want to do some changes later. So that's the model. It's more or less finished to be scanned or showed on Sketchfab or whatever we want to do. So I'm going to...
Paint it in the Zyyx, of course.
Yeah, of course we're going to do that. We'll just... I'm going to export the mesh. So we can do that in the most typical formats like OBJ, STL, point clouds, what else is there? Yeah, just a bunch of typical formats when it comes to texture models. Are there any more questions popping in?
Not right now.
Not right now, alright. Let me just find the format, there we go.
Ask